me this week to talk about the Spring Street project is Armand D'Erico, president of the New Jersey Community Development Group, and Reverend John Howard from Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, Armand, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yes, you did.
Say it one time for me.
D'Erico.
D'Erico. See, I have to D'Erico say it. All right. Now, Armando, welcome to the show. Can you tell the viewers a bit about yourself before we begin?
Sure, Alonzo. Thanks for having me. My family migrated to Elizabeth, or my father's side of the family, in the late 1950s, and from there we're still here today. Currently reside in Elizabeth. I grew up in Elizabeth, born and raised, went to Elizabeth Public Schools, and that's my story with the city.
Now, you came out what year in high school?
Came out I graduated year 2000.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember you in my graduating class of 2000, but if you say so. So if you're 2000, relatively young guy, so what made you get into developing?
I was in residential lending early in my career, right out of high school. I actually interned in high school, and right out I worked for various banks, from Staten Island Bank, Columbia Equities, a few different ones. And throughout my career there, I aside from doing residential lending, we lent to a lot of investors and developers, and after seeing the difference that they made in their communities, I wanted to make a difference in mine. So that's really how it started, and my first project was on 870 Bond Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Okay.
Reverend, welcome as well. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Lorenzo. Well, I was born and raised in New Jersey, from South Jersey, but through the migration, migrated to California, met my wife, of whom I've been married to now for 42 years, 4 children, 5 grandchildren.
Okay.
Pastored churches in Chicago, California, before coming to New Jersey. Been in the ministry now a little over 20 years. Been in Elizabeth at Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church going on 8 years. Been living in this beautiful city now. I was adding it up after I told you 3. I started at Siloam in 2004 and I moved up here in 2007. So I've been here going on 5 years now.
Okay.
So just a little brief synopsis about myself.
Now, it's funny, Armando, off camera one time the Reverend and I were talking, he was talking about his great basketball career, but on camera he left that part out. So I'm just wondering how great that career was. So we'll talk about that.
Well, I was one of the few All-Americans from the state of New Jersey in 1965 from Burlington, New Jersey, Burlington High School. At that time, Wilbur Watts, now Burlington City. And
now it's coming back to him. Okay. Now, Armando, we just had a groundbreaking for a new Spring Street project. Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. It was a fantastic day for myself and the Reverend and the city. The Spring Street project is a multifaceted mixed-use development, and it contains, the anchor of the project is Elizabeth's first African-American Cultural and Learning Center, and above that we have 20 residential affordable housing units. 1 floor which will be restricted to active adult living, which is 55 and older, and what that does is it gives people an affordable option for living in a time where the economic times are trying at this point.
Now, it's unfortunate that the circumstances had to take place that we lost that property, but fortunately you guys were able to come up with an idea or a plan to bring this back in a greater light. Whose ideas was this to do the rebuilding this way?
Well, I remember some time ago when I first came to the city, there was meetings at the YCMA of monies that were coming in to look at projects uptown here and mid-city projects, and we're meeting at the Y and then across the street. And through Troy Hudson, who was then I think a vice president of the NPRO, Neighborhood Residential Organization, and Ella Hopkins, who was president at the time, got me active in it, because I would they met at the church, and then I would commute back to Ewing. So, but I stayed there, and they kept saying that they needed a center they was looking at a youth center rather than a community center or a community youth center, but without basketball courts, because we figured we had enough courts in the city, and we wanted to challenge the mind and you know, do something more constructive than just putting out athletes.
Right.
And so talking, and over the years, I guess about 3 years, and I didn't know it, but at the time that Troy knew Michael and was in contact with you.
Sure.
And they came and knocked on the church door one afternoon saying, how can we work this together? And again, we looked at a community center.
Right.
And then through the thought process and after working with the city and meeting with certain city officials, it evolved into a African American Cultural and Learning Center. So that's how the dream came into a reality. Just started off as a dream and now it's becoming a reality.
Now, Armando, in addition to what the pastor just said, can you give us more details on what this project will bring into this neighborhood?
Sure. The basics of the project, it's really part of an initiative to redevelop and make a model for that entire neighborhood. It's a beautiful street, a wide street, and we want to take that whole corner, including the Emma Street section of it, which is 14 row houses, and really make it a destination for visitors that enter our city, as well as people, you know, that live in our city. This whole thing really has evolved greatly from its inception, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for public and private collaboration. You know, so in total, you're going to have 34 residential units at 50% of Union County area median income, which means is they're going to take the Union County median income. They're going to cut it in half, and anybody that makes that amount or less that qualifies for the units will live there.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a brief pause and come back with the second half of the show, and we'll talk some more with the great work you two gentlemen are doing. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. We'll be back with the second half of Our City after these words. Thank you. Welcome back to the second half of Our City, where I'm joined by Armand Dietico. Did I get it right?
You sure did.
Okay. And Reverend John Howard of the Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church. Now, Reverend, you mentioned that you've been here for 8 years.
8 years.
But I've noticed you've been involved in the community quite a bit in those 8 years. Is it safe to say this is one of the biggest projects that you worked in since you've been here?
Yes, it is. This is the biggest.
And does the opening of this culture center, what does it mean to you?
What it means for me is that there will be intergenerational conversations being held, breaking down barriers between our seniors and our young folk, because seniors somewhat fear the younger people, but trying to break those barriers down where they'll be sharing to and with one another. Becoming more aware of our culture and our ethnicity and our history as a people. And just because, you know, we have to look at the more inclusive word of what it means to be African and then an American, because I'm looking at, you know, the ship just stopped in various places, Haiti, the Dominican, Puerto Rico, other Caribbean islands, besides Brazil being one of the hot spots for slavery. So incorporating and bringing in an understanding to the people that we're all part of the fabric and related to one another. And trying to teach the young people to be multilingual or to learn a second language. I want to have French, English, and Spanish classes so that the young folk can begin relating to one another and understanding the commonality that they have. And so this is one of the great things about the Cultural Center, that they'll see that we're all related here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing because the word, or as I travel, I hear a lot of excitement in the community about this project. What's some of the feedback that you're getting from it?
It's been long overdue. It's about time. There's quite a bit of excitement. What can I do? How can I volunteer to you know, make this a great success for our community, that this is really is going to be a mainstay in our community well after we're gone. And this is something that they'll be leaving to their children and their children's children. And I think that's the excitement that they're leaving this legacy, and it will be a legacy. And it's an excitement about throughout the community regarding this first.
Right. Armando, what does this project mean to you, and what reason did you choose to help develop this project?
Well, it's really an honor for me to be involved in this project. And the community really expressed the need for it. I was approached by so many people throughout the last few years, and a lot of people they really have been trying to do this for the last 5, 6, 7 years, from what I understand. So there was an opportunity there. We took hold of that opportunity, and here we are today.
Now, what is the cost of this project?
The total cost of the Emma Street project and the Spring Street project, which is almost the same project, because the Emma Street project is directly adjacent to it, is $4.8 million.
And as you mentioned that, where's the funding coming from?
The funding's coming from multiple places. New Jersey Community Development Group is borrowing $1.9 million to invest into the community. And aside from that, the City of Elizabeth is funding this project, the County of Union and Alpharetta funding this project, and the Elizabeth Development Company also have some funding components in this project.
Now, when you mentioned the City of Elizabeth, I know that Susan Uchi is involved in this project also, and her team at the Elizabeth Home Improvement. Can you tell us how they are involved?
Sure. If it wasn't for Susan and her team, this project would not have come to fruition. They really spearhead the grant application process for us and have brought all the entities together to make sure this happened. Susan is really an instrumental part of this.
Now, it's interesting because, Reverend, you mentioned that there's going to be an educational component to it. There's also a housing component to it. So your minds are being uplifted. You also have a place for people to stay. What about jobs? Are there any jobs coming to the city with this project?
Yes, go ahead.
There sure are. And that's really one of the best things about this project. Throughout the construction of the Spring Street project, 60% of the laborers on that project are going to be Elizabeth residents, whether they work for myself or work for one of the subcontractors. They're going to be trained through Local 55, which is a new residential union located in Newark, New Jersey. They're going to learn things from basic CPR, and they're going to get OSHA 10, OSHA 30 classes, and they're actually going to learn specific construction trades partaking in this project.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of that. When Armando and I met, that was one of the things that we talked about, is using city folk to be a part of the work.
Right.
And even when he was doing the 7 two-family units, we got young men involved in helping to tear out and get stuff out, and also to be a part of the union. We were getting young men that wanted to be part of a union so that they could make living wage, make good wages to live by, and he was open to that. And that's another thing that really drew me to Armando, his concern, not only, for building a building, but for the people who are in the city of Elizabeth.
Well, when you finish here, don't stop. You and the Reverend go out and find some more land and lift up some more. Earlier this year began the rehabilitation of other rentals units along Emma Street. How many are there?
There's 7 attached houses, 14 total units.
And how many new housing units in total are being built, including this new project?
You can have 34 affordable rental housing units from both projects combined, and they're all at 50% area median income, which will really help out a lot of residents in the city.
Right. Now, Reverend, across the street is your church, and you guys do a lot of good things throughout the year, and one that really comes to mind is the Community Day in the summer.
We have the Community Day Fair every year, the 3rd Saturday in July, where we block off Emma Street and open up our parking lot, and we just invite the community and nonprofits, all nonprofits who are doing positive things in our city, along with the city agencies, the fire department, police department, people from the mayor's office comes. Susan Ucci was a part of it last year, and she'll be a part of it again this year. And making the people in our community aware of the resources that they have in this great city. And it's just been amazing, the turnouts that we have. And thank you for last year, you know,
No
for
problem,
that
yeah.
hot day, allowing us to have water. You know? No, but it is a great experience, and
Yeah.
it began before I got there. And now we continued, and it seems to grow every year, but that's one of the major things that we give back. It doesn't cost them anything. We have hamburgers, hot dogs, we have soft drinks, snow cones, cotton candy, we have popcorn, a jumping jack for the young kids, and possibly we'll be having face painting again this
Right.
year, and some other activities
But
for
with,
adults.
with that community, they also see a similarity to what you two are doing here. There's a lot of information, and people are being informed and uplifted in this one day. But I see long-term now coming with the community center. Am I going down the right road with this?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So with the community center, do we have a projected finish date, or not? That's premature now.
Now, we projected finish date is approximately a year to year and 2 months
Okay.
from today.
Wow. So next summer, this time, we can have a ribbon cutting.
We
Yes.
sure will. We sure will.
Okay. And if someone wanted more information about this project, where or who can they call?
They can call Kathleen Carter at NJ Community Development Group. Phone number there is 201-604-2412. Or if they're in the area, they can drop by and talk to Pastor Howard.
And in addition to the two of you, if there's anyone else like you would like to mention involved in this project?
Well, just, you know, Troy Hudson continues to be instrumental in the project, doing a lot of the footwork, getting, you know, applications for the housing, even connecting and working with getting young men off the street to get jobs, which make our streets and our community safer because now they got jobs making good money. Also, NPRO, the Neighborhood Preservation Residential Organization, who are made up of the people of the community, who's been working to keep our community safe for years. I know working with the Councilman Gallman, the mayor, and also Detective Vito, who comes to our meetings, and the councilwoman at large who comes there to make the community safer. So just the community as a whole, and it just was eye-opening to me because this was the first community block group that I've been to see all these folk involved, and even a concern, the turnout that we have, that they want safer communities.
Okay.
So I want to give the people their due, because without them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, because they pushed us to do this.
Now, a year or two from now, when this project is completed, is it safe to say that we'll have maybe a art gallery or art show from time to time there?
Sure.
Yes, I would like to introduce the people to an art show, our various artists and their works from across the spectrum of our African American heritage. Those who work with painting, whether it be oil or regular painting, or those who work with metals, just to give our communities and make them aware of the art, and to diversify their investments. You know, art has a great value that sometimes we don't know about.
This is true, very true. Are you working on any other projects in Elizabeth?
We have scattered site development throughout the city.
Right.
And we have our eyes set on a few other developments that you'll hear about in the future.
So that means more housing and more jobs coming to Elizabeth.
More housing, more jobs. We really want to focus in on the jobs component of this, because it's important for people not to have jobs just for a segment of time during construction. It's important for the kids of this community to have full-time careers. We want to build careers, and that's my commitment, and we'll get it done.
Okay. Thank you to you both. And one more time, you want to give out the website information?
You could contact Kathleen Carter at NJ Community Development Group. Phone number is 201-604-2412, and that would be the best way to contact her.
Okay. And Reverend, you were
Contact us.
going to say something?
I could be reached at Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church. Our phone number, area code 908 And I got to remember this number now, 354-0016.
I hope that's the right number.
That's the right number. When you don't call it that often, you kind of think.
Okay.
But that's the number, 908-354-0016.
Okay. All right. Thank you to you both, and
Thank you, Alonzo.
congratulations on your project.
Thank you, Alonzo.
You're welcome. Don't forget to join us on the city's Facebook page, City of Elizabeth NJ, there on Facebook. Also, the city's website, www.elizabethnj.org. You get to find out a lot of great information, up-to-date information about what's going on here in the city of Elizabeth. Thank you for tuning in this segment. Have a safe and wonderful week. Thank you.